Welcome back. Today we are in Proverbs chapter 26, verse 1. Verse 1 says, "As snow in summer and rain in harvest, so honor is not fitting for a fool." So in the summertime, you don't expect any snow, right? There's no snow in the summer. And rain in harvest time, which is the summertime, which is the time when you harvest, the summertime when it's not supposed to rain. It's like you don't expect those things, the rain and snow, to come at that time. So in the same way, fools being honored, it's kind of weird. Something's wrong there. So that's what Solomon's saying. Honor is for the wise, not for the foolish. Verse 2 says, "Like a flitting sparrow, like a flying swallow, so a curse without cause shall not alight." So the same way that a sparrow or a swallow just kind of hops around and doesn't really land and stay in any place, in the same way, that's curse without a cause. So it's like if you are doing the right thing and you're a good person, then the cursing that people have is not really going to stick to you. Those allegations, those accusations are not really going to stick because everyone's going to know your character. Verse 3 says, "A whip for the horse, a bridle for the donkey, a rod for the fool's back." It's the same way you use a whip to move a horse, or use a bridle to guide the donkey. It's the same way you use a rod on the fool's back, because fools can't be directed by words, they can't be directed by wisdom, and it's just like brute force is all you got. In the same way with the horse. If a horse is a good horse, you don't need the whip. You can just call the horse and lead it gently where you want it to go. Same with the donkey. But if they're stubborn, if they're not obeying, you gotta use brute force to kind of win. Same with the fool. Verse 4: "Do not answer a fool according to his folly, lest you also be like him." So if there's a fool and he wants to argue with you, don't bother arguing. I've heard it said that never argue with a fool, because he'll bring you down to his level and beat you with experience. So don't bother with it. It's not worth it. If someone wants to have a foolish argument, just leave. Let them have a foolish argument with themselves. Pray for them, love them, but don't get into it with them, because it's not worth your time. It's not worth your energy. You can be doing other things for Christ. Verse 6 says, "He who sends a message by the hand of a fool cuts off his own feet and drinks violence." It's like if you're going to take a fool and it's like, "Hey, go give this message to somebody else," they're not going to make it. It's like you might as well cut your feet off and drink violence, whatever that is. That doesn't sound like a good drink to me. So don't do that. Don't entrust fools with important messages, because they won't do it. Verse 7 says, "Like the legs of a lame that hang limp, is a proverb in the mouth of fools." So just like if there's a guy whose legs don't work and the way they just kind of hang there and they're not useful for anything, that's a proverb in the mouth of fools. Give a wise saying to a fool and they're not going to be able to use it. It's just going to be worthless. Verse 8 says, "Like one who binds a stone in a sling is he who gives honor to the fool." I'm not really sure what that is. If it's talking about the sling that David uses, if you bind, I get it. You bind the stone, like instead of just putting the stone in the sling and throwing it out, you tie it so it can't ever leave the sling. So when you swing it around and throw it, it doesn't actually go anywhere. So it means it's useless. And so that's the same useless if you give honor to a fool. There's a pattern going on here. Lots of foolish talk here. Verse 9 says, "Like a thorn that goes into the hand of a drunkard is the proverb in the mouth of fools." Well, I can't imagine that's a good sign. If you're drunk and you got a thorn going in, maybe you don't feel as much because you're drunk. Still hurts, still causes a lot of pain, still useless. And so, proverb in the mouth of fools is useless. And that's the thing with Hebrew poetry. They like to say the same thing over and over again in different ways. Verse 10, "The great God who formed everything gives the fool his hire and transgressor his wages." So yeah, God's the one who does everything, who made everything, and He's the one who is going to give the fool what he earns later on. So you don't have to worry about punishing fools or doling out punishments or anything like that, because that's God's job. It's not our job to get people back. God claims revenge as His. So don't try to get revenge. Don't try to make anything even. Just try to do your best to live and love a holy life. God bless you, and see you next time.